may be useful for you little later. So first of all, we are going to start with the first lecture of business communication. So we'll in this particular syllabus, what we are interested in understanding how well we should be able to communicate our customers, our vendors, our employees, etc., etc. So the part or core of this particular business communication happens to be letter writing, report writing, your whenever there are meetings held, how effective meetings can be held whenever you are conducting some kind of GD for establishing a kind of discussion forum for launching of new product, or any of the decision for that matter, which is very important for business. We would be trying to understand how well we should be able to do. So let us begin understanding what exactly is meant by communication. To me or you, if I ask, communication is anything when I share something, the information which is received by you. If I am saying something, if you are understanding it, that is communication, right? So let us understand this particular word from where it has come. This particular word was originally taken from Latin word. The word was communi, right? The meaning of that communi is something which is common. That means common. When I am sharing my idea or my information, my emotion, then it would become common between you and me, right? Whenever I am trying to tell you the communication word, if I'm sharing something that becomes a message, there has to be two people, or there should be two person involved, some giver and some taker, right? When these two are there, then only there is possibility of becoming something common. So if you are reading the book, the writer has written something of his knowledge, his information, whatever his thoughts are. Okay, originally they were his own ideas, and he, after you read his ideas, it becomes common to you and him both, right? So the word communication, this communi, tries to make you the idea uh, when we are making or sharing it common, right? So from that perspective, if we look at the definition, communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions through speech signals, writing, or behavior. So that means whenever we are trying to communicate, what we are doing, we are exchanging the information. Today, I am trying to teach you the subject matter of business communication to you all. Whatever I have got that information, I am exchanging. If certain things you very well have come to, maybe have experienced something, when you are trying to tell your own experiences in this particular subject matter, I would listen to you. You will tell me. So exchanging is happening for information. Sometimes it may not be information. You and your friend have got some idea to spend how this particular picnic, or how to do certain things. So somebody is sharing that idea, some thoughts. Sometimes if you are not well, you don't feel happy, so sharing of that emotions are also there. Simply somebody keeps on smiling, or sobbing or crying, even if he has not spoken the words, he has really communicated how he is feeling now, and on that basis we can understand what he must be feeling, right? So communication is not only information passing or idea passing or thought process exchanging. It also includes the emotions also. So sometimes if you are crying, you have understood, I mean, the other person is understanding that you are not in a good mood, right? So how you are sending this information? By speech signals. Either you are speaking, sometimes you write on, maybe text messages you pass on the SMS, WhatsApp, maybe you write mail. Sometimes this TV serials, etc., are also showing some kind of emotions via some people who are actors, so that we are trying to understand the basic information or ideas or feelings which are being written by the person who has written that particular the serial. Okay, so in communication process, a sender encodes the message and then using a medium and feedback using the medium. So there are 2 3 things here one must keep in mind. One is, whenever this is idea is exchanged, one person starts and he encodes. For example, today if this is a formal communication, I have to everything, whatever my idea of the subject matter, though they are in my brain, I have to use those all ideas uh, in the English language so that you understand it better, right? So that means ideas are passed to you by encoding the ideas in terms of English language. That is a medium of communication. If you people are comfortable understanding Marathi, if you are comfortable understanding in Kannada, most of the time that is also done, right? So whenever we are using this language or some picture, some map, they all become a usage, useful tools for exchanging your message, passing your ideas to somebody who is receiving. And whether he has received it or not, how do we judge? If I am, after this class ends, if I ask you a question whether you have understood or not, when you will answer those questions, that means whatever I wanted to send you, whatever I was meaning you, you have understood by answering those questions. So the answer becomes feedback here in the situation. I hope you people are understanding. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let us understand one or two definitions fastly. Communication is the sum of all things one person does when he wants to create understanding in the mind of other. It involves systematic and continuous process of telling, listening and understanding. So this particular definition was given by Alan Louis or Louis Allen. What he suggests is, it is not only one person is attempting, he is attempting all every aspect which he wants to um, transfer his information to other. So sometimes he uses facial expressions, sometimes he uses his hands, correspondingly he is speaking. So it is not a dumbo kind of a person who is standing simply blah 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 he's speaking, but along with that speech he also uses his hands, face gestures, etc., right? So facial expressions, sometimes he keeps silence, sometimes he uses some images, some graph, some picture, unless and until. So for example, this particular medium of communication of lecturing, I am using my language here along with this PPT, right? PPT may include some kind of a picture here. So not only verbal, but also this picture is getting you the idea which I am trying to tell you. So I am telling, this is a continuous process. Unless you understand, you say yes, I keep on repeating the things. So I am speaking, you are listening, and also systematically understanding the way I am presenting, right? So this Louis says, it starts with speech, it ends with listening, also it accumulates that listening via understanding. So you add your understanding as well as you put on some experiences of your own to that idea to understand the holistic way which I am trying to present you before, right? So communication is transfer of information from a sender to receiver with information being understood by the receiver, which is very clear. I am sending the information and you are receiving the information. Unless the information is passed the way sender wants, receiver may ask queries, right? So if and unless he questions, the sender will not understand whether he has understood completely or not, right? If he posing question, sender may ask questions and receiver may answer back telling whatever information he has passed, the way he the for example some facts what we are learning. If at the end of this class if I asked you what did you learn, you may say definition of communication is this. So whatever I have presented you have understood. It's simple. Let us go ahead. Now we will try to understand the process of communication. Look at the process. There are few elements here: the sender and the receiver. Sender is to the left and receiver is to the right. Right from the sender to receiver there are few elements inside. One is message, and message is encoded. The usage of language, usage of pictures, those ideas which are residing in the minds of the sender are put in the form of encoded message using some form of language, some kind of elements like pictures, some gestures, some facial expression, etc. That all comes in terms of encoding, because idea brain to brain cannot be transferred, right? So brain to brain cannot be transferred directly, so we are utilizing this language which was so many years past, say thousands of years before we have decided this is the form of language. A means A, B means B, and when together CAT makes cat. Cat is such kind of a animal likewise. So there would be this particular element of designing the form of communication and utilizing those symbols were pre-decided, right? And those pre-decided idea of you and me were same present before this particular incorporation of how to communicate, right? uh, with this encoding we are utilizing some media. The media can be like telephone, like print media, book. There can be television, there can be face-to-face communication. They all become media. Are you understanding what am I trying to tell you here out of media?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Huh.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, and it is decoded by the receiver, right? Receiver use all those the things which he has previously with him, like whatever the knowledge of language he has, along with all the ideas how to use this particular e-media, maybe television, maybe telephone, maybe television, etc. So that all media usage he knows and decodes whatever the sent message in his own way, right? And receiver gives the feedback back. Look at the last loop. Feedback is received by the sender. This feedback is the form of answer, saying yes, simply nodding head, anything, right? It comes right from receiver to sender. So if you look at, it is not one way, it is two way. If it is happening from sender to receiver only, in some of the media, like whenever you are reading, the receiver may not be able to directly communicate to the sender for a writer, right? He may write back after he receives that information, uh, in his own point of time. Whenever he gets free time he may write feedback, this book was really good, Sometimes we write mails after receival of the email. The person who would read and try to write back, then only sender would come to know that he has received that mail and whatever he wants to say, he has said. So there can be receiver writing feedback little later, but it often happens easy communication when you are talking to each other face to face. So oral communication and face-to-face communication becomes more useful communication in day-to-day life. Okay, and there is one element which is very important to understand is noise. By noise, we are saying, see, this is cutting that. The communication is cut. If, see, continuously I am talking to you and somebody comes here and makes a big noise, what will happen? Whatever I want to say, I will not reach up to you. This noise is disturbing the communication. Is, before I send you, you will not be able to listen to what I'm trying to tell you. This noise will be in the form of communication breakup if the signals are not correct, right? So if internet is not working, if there is a faulty instrument, if you are not in a good mood, though I am teaching but you are not listening to me, if I am not in a good mood, though I wanted to teach but my mood is not there. So this noise, by noise we can mean many things, or barrier basically. We would be giving more detailed understanding to this particular word called barrier to communication, which is one of the element in the syllabus. So I hope you people are understanding this particular process. Look at the sender. Sender is the person who conveys his thoughts or idea to the receiver. The sender represents source of communication. It's very clear that he is the one who is the source. He is the one who is source of a idea. He begins with idea, he begins with information, he has got that fact, he has got that emotion with him, right? Receiver is the person whom he is intending to send the information. Okay, then there is other element, is message. It is a content of idea, feeling, suggestion, order intended to be communicated. So today, whatever I am trying to teach you, the subject matter is the message which I am trying to teach you, right? Whatever idea it would be, whatever feeling, for example, if somebody is very happy, if he is laughing, if he is smiling, if he is grinning, everything, that feeling is also communicated. There can be some suggestions, don't do this, join. I just sent you a message saying I am going to start my class at 11:45, please join. So this is a suggestion or order, likewise. So this suggestion order would be more in formal situation where we are working in the organization. Okay, next. Next element is encoding. Very clear. It is a process of converting the message into communication symbols like words, pictures, gestures. Sometimes even simply putting my finger on my lips, I am saying something. What does it mean? If I put my finger on my lips, even I am not teaching you by not showing, what you will understand? That picture of finger and
Silent. Keep
silent.
silent. Mm.
Keep silent. This is a gesture. When I put both hands together saying namaste, even if I don't say namaste, my two folded hands automatically tells you something that I'm greeting you, right? So that is the words, picture, gestures are these symbols which are used for converting the message. That becomes the encoding. Then we have media. Without media, I cannot pass that information to you. It is the path, right? It is the path through which encoded message is transmitted to the receiver. The channel may be written form, face-to-face, phone call, internet, etc. Are you there? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, then it is a decoding. Decoding, because I have sent in my words, and you have to even decode in your own way. So decode is the process of converting encoded symbol to the by the sender to receiver, right? This is tree, it is codified. Decoding also is understood as a tree, as this is, it was a word, but it is pictorially understood by the person. Receiver is the end person whom he is sending the information. The person who received the communication is the sender. Then lastly, feedback. It includes all those actions of the receiver indicating that he has received and understood the message of a sender. So thanks for feedback, wow, he listened, etc, etc. When I ask a question, when you are saying yes, yes madam, okay, if you are querying, the whole thing becomes the feedback. I told you noise is the barrier or obstruction. Noise means some obstruction or hindrance to the communication. The hindrance may be caused to sender, message or receiver. It may happen everywhere, okay? The communication process should start from sender to receiver. But in between, we are located far away places, or sometimes even if it is face to face, there can be the mood, the upset mind, my emotions, or lack of knowledge, lack of language knowledge. They all are hindrances. You agree to this? If I wanted to talk to you, but if I am not in a good mood. Secondly, I want to talk to you in Kannada because that is the best language which I know. But you people do not know language Kannada, and that's why I cannot present you the thoughts. So hindrance is the noise. But here may it be written as a noise, we would be calling it as a barrier to communication. What we would be calling? What we would be calling to noise?
Barrier
Barrier
to
to
communication.
communication.
Very good, very good. So why do we need this particular communication? Basically, in organization, we want to have good relationship with the employees. Unless we motivate them, unless we talk to them, there would be miscommunication. So it is very much required for management of the employee relation. If unless and until you talk to them, what even if you are giving the order for completion of the work, so you would talk to them, right? Even if you are not talking directly, you may be writing to them via circular notices. Huh? Sometimes you may send messages through WhatsApp, etc. That all will reach to the person. And if you are writing in a good way, which really touches their mind, automatically without any bias, they would complete the work. If that is not understood, there is ambiguity, you wanted to say something but they did not understand, everything goes into mess and they cannot complete your work. And basically we have come to organization to do work. If the work is not complete, we could not earn profits. And that's why good communication ends up in good work, and automatically you may able to know them better, tell them better what I am intending. And that's why you say it is required for the management of the employee relation. Secondly, it is a tool for supervision, whether they have completed the work. How will they write, or how will I know? They will write the report back to me. See, this was given target, I have finished this, so work in progress is this much. We wanted to sell this much and I could sell this much. So while they submit a report, I get to know how much they have completed. So I may ask them, by getting the report, I am supervising their work, right? It is also essential for motivation. So patting them, appreciating them, you well done, right? So star performer of the work. So what you will write? Simply if you are posting that star performer of a week and his name, people will understand. and we are appreciating by putting the star, putting that letter on the notice board. He will feel happy. So this is a kind of a tool for motivation. Keeping good human relations, useful for acquiring knowledge. This is one of the very important thing. What is happening in the market, what the customers are interested. you know uh, Newspaper will you know be full of various things, what politicians are doing, what customers are intending, what is social media, etc. So on that basis we will come to know what expectations of customers are, and we will try to send such products and services to them. So getting the information right is basically important to us, and it is even received by the way of communication. It helps planning and coordination between different departments. You need to sit together, discuss the ideas, plan action, what has to be done, how much is completed, etc. That is all with the inquiry, with the suggestion. You could do it. It encourages the idea and suggestion. That means when you are asking something to do, whenever you are asking how to do, probing the problems, so automatically people will come up with their ideas and they could give the suggestions. Then, what are basically objectives of the communication? To build the human relations. You want to befriend. Whenever you are sitting alone, you cannot pass the time simply. Even then also, you are listening to somebody's music or reading. Is it? Is it not the idea of developing that author has written something, some message, and he has developed a kind of a human relation with you? So, whenever you are alone, you talk to your friends, your fellow mates. That is, your sharing of thoughts is a basis for human relations, right? You try to talk so good that people feel urged to talk you back. You will persuade. Persuasion is is basically when we are trying to provide some products to the customers, and we are persuading them to buy our products. We convince, right? Persuasion is,
Convincing.
yes.
Convincing.
Right. And then information passing, books, this TV serials, this social media, everything is full of information, right? Your newspapers, journals, library, book, everything. That is basically via communication only we are able to get them. Suggestions, how to do it, how not to do it, that they all are form of suggestions. Leaders talk. Leader talk to achieve certain goals. How do they do? With influencing talk. This is all the way he presents their language, their thought processes in front of the public. But just after his completion of the speech, people gets inspired. That is called as influencing. Understanding. Understanding is also how to do it. What is presently, how, what, all those WH questions. Whenever we are trying to probe in a given situation, that is understanding. And sometimes evaluation also. If you have completed this course and you will write the exam, after examination I will check whether you have really written the answer properly to them. So I will mark your questions, answers, by a particular grading. Is it not evaluation? That is a feedback. I hope you people are understanding. Hmm? With this,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, with this we end up one point. If you have any question, let me take that question. Okay, I'm going to share you a small video. It is Give me a moment. I'm sharing you a video. It's a 3-minute video. Watch it. Is it visible and you are able to listen to it? Hear it? Can you hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
In this
Yes.
course, we will discuss the communication process, some of the basic issues in interpersonal communication, methods of communicating, and how technology and the internet have influenced organizational communication. Communication is the process of transmitting information from one person to another to create a shared understanding and feeling. The word communication actually comes from the Latin word communicare, meaning to share or make common. Communication does not mean agreeing, only that information is transmitted and received as it was intended. This figure illustrates the communication process.
Camera nahi onda na.
Encoding occurs when the message sender converts a thought, idea, or fact into a message comprised of symbols, pictures, or words. The message is the encoded information being sent. The channel is the medium used to send the message to the receiver, including voice, writing, graphs, videos, intranets, intranets, television, body language, and so on. When the message receiver sees, reads, or hears the message, it gets decoded. Decoding is the interpretation and translation of the message back into something understood by the receiver. The decoded information is hopefully the same as the information the sender intended to communicate, but that's not always the case. Feedback is a check on the success of the communication. The message receiver sends a new message back to the original sender, and the original sender assesses to see if the receiver understood the original message as intended. Repeating or paraphrasing the original message, asking for clarification, or asking if your conclusions are correct are forms of feedback. Noise is anything that blocks, distorts, or changes in any way the message the sender intended to communicate. In other words, in the communication process, the sender translates, encodes information into words, symbols, or pictures, and passes it to the receiver through some medium or channel. The sender then receives the message and retranslates, decodes it into a message that's hopefully the same as what the sender intended. Noise can enter anywhere in the process, making the message received different from the one the sender intended. Feedback creates two-way communication that helps to check on the success of the communication and ensure that the receiver's message was accurate. Unfortunately, though, problems can arise at any point during the communication process that make the message ultimately received different from the one sent. These barriers can come from the sender, or the receiver, or the organization, or noise.
Okay. The next part we are going to cover is types, 7 C's of communication. Again, if it is not able to open, what am I going to do is directly sharing the screen. It's opening, it's not. Is it seen? No. Okay. Wait for a moment. Still not seen, right?
No.
No, ma'am.
Don't know. Now I'm directly sharing my screen. See, in the process of while I spoke you until this sender, receiver, message, etc., etc. So whenever we are communicating, you know, effectively we should be able to communicate. Means whatever my ideas, the way it should be replicated in your mind. If there is a gap, I told you that there are variety of gaps or hindrances or what you say barriers which come across the process. There can be at sender's end, there can be some of the barriers at the receiver's end, there can be in the this particular process when it is happening. So we want to see how effectively this communication can happen. And for that matter, whenever we want to communicate effectively, for the objective with which we have started, if it is able to accomplish that, we say it is effective. What did I say with the effectiveness? Anybody? Class,
Yes, ma'am.
what did I say with the word effective? What do you mean by effective?
Effective means I can say sender to receiver having same message to convey.
Right, right, right. But the same, whenever effectiveness, this particular word, whenever we are using, most of the time, it should be effective or effectiveness is checked in organization. By effectiveness, we mean whatever intended objective. For example, in the organizational objective, maybe increase of the profit, say 20% we want to increase. That is the objective of the organization. And if this organization could achieve 20% increase, so we can say it was, the plan was effective, right? Are you understanding what am I trying to tell you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
Yes, ma'am.
So communication has to be effective. So whenever in the last slide we saw, there are variety of the objectives. For that matter, there can be persuasion, there can be suggestion, there can be orders, there can be simply human relations. If it could achieve those targets or all those objectives which we are intending, if they come to truth, that means the communication was effective. Today, if my class, you could easily understand what am I trying to tell, that means it was effective. My idea of teaching is basically my aim is total understanding of the concept. And whatever I have presented, if you have understood that totally, that means my communication was effective. So for that matter, to achieve this effectiveness in communication, they have to, the person who is speaker has to follow 7 C's. Why 7 C's? Because all C starts with C letters. Okay. So if the 7 C's are these: completeness, conciseness, consideration, concreteness, clarity, courtesy, correctness. So if you look at these words, every word starts with C, and that's why they are said to be 7 C's. Okay, nothing different. What do you say? Or something very different. So let us understand what this 7 C's. If I want to make my communication effective, I have to follow these 7 C's. So when we talk about effective communication, one thing that comes in mind, what are the basic principles? With principles, again guidelines. I have to follow these guidelines to make my communication effective. Okay, how to, whenever I am formulating the message, how should I formulate that message? Whenever I am targeting to that particular group, whom I should target, how I should take it, how I should understand it. So if you are following these principles of 7 C's, possibility of communication becoming effective is large. Okay, so if you look at 7 C's, as I have told you, The 7 C's starts with completeness, conciseness, consideration, correctness, clarity, courtesy, and correctness. Let us see each one by one. See, whenever we are trying to communicate, first and foremost thing, we have to complete it. Complete the message. First of all, message receiver, is listener or reader. If you are able to pass on the complete information, then only he would identify the holistic message, right? For example, see here the example is given. Suppose you are working in multinational company which is engaged in engineering goods like AC. Now let us say one of the major customer wants some technical information regarding thermostat because he wants to convey the same to the end user. In case you have in this particular case, you have to give him complete information in very short span of a time. Because he has asked, immediately you should be able to define what is thermostat to him so that he can give the information to the customer. You have to give all those details what this particular thermostats mean, right? So if let me take one more example here for completeness. You said there is a meeting organized by your head. If you simply say your fellow colleague there is a meeting, would he be able to understand when is the meeting, where is the meeting, who is going to attend the meeting, what is the agenda to be discussed? So did you give the complete information? No. So whenever we want to say anything, you should first think of completing the information. Are you understanding this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So whenever we are trying to pose the completeness, try to remember these different W questions. Who, what, when, where, why. If these questions you are answering, possibility of giving the information complete would be there. Okay. So your question should always formulate yourself. Ask yourself these questions. Did I who is the message receiver, whom I'm trying to tell in the particular part. I gave example of the meeting. So you are telling to your fellow colleague, so you know who. So if what is to be conveyed, the meeting information. Did you tell him when that meeting is going to happen, where it is going to happen, why it is going to be happening, right? So all these questions, if you ask yourself, automatically the answer would give you, the completeness of the message. Look at the conclusion. At the end, we can say that we must provide him all the necessary information requested by him. The earlier example of that particular thermostat, so how it is to be, what exactly is thermostat, why it is used, etc., where it is placed. If you are asking those questions to yourself, if you have answered those questions to yourself, that means you have given the complete answer. Answer to all the questions carefully. Provide some more information which he is not requiring, just to maintain the good relation. So always tell them that in the case of example I just posed about the meeting which you are conveying to your friend, tell him who is going to recite. Automatically he may prepare himself and contribute fruitfully to the meeting. Next is conciseness. Conciseness is smallness, chota, brief. Okay. Conciseness means convey the message using fewest word. बहुत बड़ा चढ़ा के बोलते जाएंगे तो you will say come to the point, है ना? बहुत बार ऐसा हो जाता है कि people keep on repeating बड़े बड़े बड़ी बातें, but what he wants to say we will not be able to catch that. So if you are able to give the message in a short words, automatically complete, he would get that information easily, immediately, correct? So conciseness is the prerequisite to effective business communication. जब भी business communication कर रहे, whenever you are trying to communicate for business purpose, now, if you are talking to a customer, exactly tell what is the rate, where it is available. So immediately they will go buy for that particular price if they are happy with that. No? So short messages are very important. So this particular conciseness is also said to be one of the principle called KISS principle. आज वैलेंटाइन है, मैं बात कर रही हूँ किस की. KISS is keep it short and simple. Okay, conciseness is keep it short and simple. How to achieve that? Don't uh, add too much words, like avoid wordy expressions, include only relevant material, avoid unnecessary repetition. Keep on बीच बीच में अगर repeatedly आप वही वही बताते रहेंगे तो that is not a good habit. So for example, wordy means at this time, at this time is 3 words हो गए. Simply बोलो now, है ना? Always try to use to the point approach. अभी अभी जो है वो. So in this business perspective, so particularly whatever is applicable here, you may talk to. Then relevant information देना जरूरी. Always try to provide only relevant information to the receiver of the message. Let us say one of the customer you have has requested you for the clients of the company. In reply, you should provide simply the list of clients at the panel of your company. No need to provide detailed business information about the client. Never. Only stick to the purpose of the message. Delete irrelevant words. Avoid long introduction, unnecessary explanation, and get to the point immediately. बहुत ब्ला 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 लिख के राम की सीता कौन थी यही पता नहीं चलेगा. So don't do that. Avoid unnecessary repetition. बार बार रिपीट बोलना भी अच्छा नहीं. Sometimes repetition is unnecessarily for focusing the special issue. But when the same thing is said without 2 or more reasons, the message becomes wordy and boring. तो बार बार वही वही बोलने से boring हो सकता है. तो क्या करना जरूरी है? Try to use the message shorter, keep the words smaller. Instead of saying World Trade Organization, you may say simply WTO. Information technology बोलने से अच्छा है IT. Everybody would come to know what you are trying to say there. Then we have consideration. बहुत बहुत जरूरी है. किसके साथ बात कर रहे हैं इतना याद रखो. रिसीवर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से you have to design your message. That is called as consideration. Consideration is to consider the receiver's interest. अभी तुम लोगों का इंटरेस्ट कहाँ है, कम्युनिकेशन कैसे पढ़ना है, इसमें क्या क्वेश्चन इंपॉर्टेंट है वगैरह वगैरह. तो आपको जो जरूरी है मैं अगर बताऊंगी then only you would be keeping interest in this particular lecture. Otherwise कुछ नहीं. ये consideration सिर्फ same ये particular class. If I am going to teach it to say 5th grade class, so I have to define my communication, business communication in a very different way. I have to make it more interesting, like story like. Are you understanding what am I trying to tell? Consideration is considering the view of the receiver. कौन से एज से है, कौन से बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है, what is the age group, education group, experience, etc. If this business communication class I have to teach to the very professional, automatically my language, my explanation, my what do you say, examples would be different, right? So it is very important to remember whenever you are trying to write who are the target group. three ways consideration is focus you attitude. Always try to keep others in others in your point of view. Or don't say I. In fact, you say we. It shows interest. No, automatically we are all together learning. It becomes very comfortable. Otherwise, you will say I am going to teach. I am going to do. Nobody likes, right? So likewise, we attitude is very important. Show audience benefit. Why it is why this particular message is important. Try to tell the benefit of this, right? Emphasize positive and pleasant facts. Positively आप बोलो, consider करो लोगों को क्या interest है, how they are going to actually get benefit out of it. Try to be that. Okay. So always write a message in such a way how audience should be benefited from it. For example, I am delighted to announce that we will extend to make shopping more. So likewise, we attitude is very important attitude here. So you will be able to shop in the evening with extended hours. Reader may react positively when benefits are shown to them. Always try to address his or her want. इसमें क्या important है? जब भी मैं शुरू करी, when I started my class, I told you that this is a business communication when you are going to deal with customers, when you will deal with business vendors, etc. How you will be writing these letters, reports, etc. Right? Did I do that? Similarly, for examination, how questions would be asked, what are the important things. If you will keep these things in mind, automatically people will listen to you. Always show reader what has been done so far. Try to address his or her query, okay, whatever their needs are. Try not avoid what is not done. Try to focus the present thing and the queries they are interested in. Next part is give me a moment, it is not responding. I don't know, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but then courteousness आ गया. Okay, concreteness आ
Yes.
गया. Okay.
Yes.
Concrete क्या है? जो fact है. Concreteness is factful. कोई भी चीज ऐसा ambiguity नहीं होना चाहिए. There shouldn't be any misunderstanding out of your usage of language. Try to be focusing more on facts. So if you are saying I have four-wheeler, there can be hundreds of four-wheelers available. If you specifically say Wagoner, you can easily identify. People will identify four-wheeler. इसका मतलब इनका car. So concreteness is all about the exactness of the information. Okay, it means the message that should be specific instead of general. कोई भी general understanding हम लोग नहीं देंगे, specific information देंगे. Misunderstanding of the words create problems to both parties, sender as well as receiver. When you talk to your clients, always use facts and figures instead of generic or irrelevant information. कहाँ मिलेगा? स्पेसिफिकली एड्रेस दे दो, ये पर्टिकुलर दुकान में आपके प्रोडक्ट्स यहाँ पर अवेलेबल होंगे. किसको मिलना है? आप हमारे सेल्समैन को मिलो, ऐसा मत बोलो. ट्राई टू गिव इंफॉर्मेशन, एग्जैक्ट नेम ऑफ द पर्सन. They can meet them and get the information. So that is what concreteness is all about. Look at following guidelines should be kept to achieve the concreteness. Use specific facts and figures. Choose image building words जिससे उनको picture दिखे. They should be able to see the things which you are trying to refer to. He is very intelligent student of the class, stood first in the class. ऐसा बोलने से what you can do is Ali's GPA in BSc Electrical Engineering was 3.95 out of 4. he stood first in the class. What has happened? You are trying to tell his name, what he has done, in which class he learned, etc. Every clear. So always try to write solid grounds. Try to be very specifically, which gives the good image. Next is clarity. Until now we have seen 4 things. Have you written them? What are they? 4
Yes,
things?
ma'am. Completeness,
Huh?
conciseness,
Okay.
consideration, and concreteness.
Okay. Next is now clarity. Clarity, clearness. Clarity is clearness. Accurate. Accurately is the purpose of clarity. In effective business communication, the message should be very, very clear so that reader understands it easily. So choose the precise word. Try to be easy. Don't, when I say clarity, it doesn't come with the big words or flowery words. Never. Try to be easy. Use, as I've told you, KISS principle. Keep it short and simple. Clarity comes with simpleness. Hmm? Always choose familiar and easy words. Construct effective sentences and paragraphs. Small paragraphs, small sentences would really be more clear than that of long words, flowery words, or big paragraphs will not give the clarity. In business communication, always use precise words than the longer sentence. If you have choice between long words and shorter one, always use shorter one. You should always try your level best to use familiar words and easy words. Understandable words so that reader understands it quickly. Look at the familiar words are after. Unfamiliar words are subsequently. Like you can simply use after, before, etc. etc. Prerequisite, post-requisite, etc. etc. If you use, people will jumble themselves. If they are not, those people who are not good at language automatically feel they did not understand the things, right? So use the familiar words like after. The for domicile you can say home. For example, big one, you may simply write E dot G dot pay is. You can remove remuneration, instead you can say simply pay. Statement of payments, you may simply write invoice, right? Simple things make it simpler. Things simpler. Then we have courtesy. Courtesy, courtesy is being polite, right? Knowing your audience allows you to use statements of courtesy. Be aware of your message receiver. Who is your receiver? Maybe he is a small person who may be deaf, who may be aged. He may not be in a position to understand you. So try to be, you attitude and polite attitude really considers his interest or creating his interest in your information. So true courtesy involves being aware not only that perspectives of the other but also of their feelings. Courtesy stems from sincere you attitude. Try to be more sincere. You want to talk to them. You want to pass information. So unless you feel they are important, your humbleness will not be existing. So try to be more and more humble. It is not merely politeness with mechanical insertions like please, thank you. Better, be in spirit there. Although appealing socially acceptable manners in the form of courtesy, rather it is a politeness that grows out of respect and concern of the others. So try to be courteous communication, generate special tone, the pleasing attitude, the language which you will choose. You may make out who is talking to you humbly. who is talking to you rudely, even over the phone, even when they have written the text. You understand what am I trying to tell? On the text, if some messages are generally plain, some messages are really feel like reading, some messages are rude. Though they are not spoken, but the choice, the tone easily can be made out. So courtesy is trying to be more and more humble, polite. I hope you people are understanding. So how to generate a courteous tone? Following are the suggestions. Be sincerely tactful, thoughtful, appreciative. Use expressions that shows the respect to others. Choose non-discriminatory expressions. Uh, Discrimination is such a horrible thing. People get upset when you are discriminating. So try to be non-discriminatory. Be sincerely tactful, thoughtful, appreciative. Though few people are intentionally abrupt or blunt, negative, hmm, they are generally discourteous, but you should not do that, right? Avoid expressions like those in left hand column below. Refresh them with the right hand column. Look at these sentences. Stupid letter, I can't understand. You should have been, I should understand it as there is no confusing words in this letter. Could you please explain it once again? Likewise, it, it's fault of yours. You did not do it properly. Read my latest facts. Better you may write. Sometimes my wording is not precise. Let me try it again. Likewise, if you are cordial, courteous, the messages are actually appreciative in nature, and it will bring goodwill for you, yourself, your company, right? So automatically people will try trusting you. They will more oblige to you rather than if there is a rude statement. People don't want to listen to the rude and blunt people. Better if you are more humble. People would like to, they would respond you rather if the people are rude. Last but not least, it is correctness. Until now we have seen so many things, but information has to be correct. So correctness is correctness of grammar, correctness of spelling, correctness of punctuation. So there should not be anything which is missed or misunderstood. With comma you can really make a sentence, different sentence altogether. If possible, let us see if we may come to talk about how the commas can be inserted and removed to understand this total differences of the sentences. Okay, the term correctness as applied to the business messages also mean the characteristics, usage of right level of the language. Two big words, uh, and I mean language in terms of uh, high level language or courteous language. Try to be very, no, not to be so fancy, but wherever you are trying to use a kind of a appealing, right level of language should be used. Check the accuracy of figures, facts and words. Whatever words may mean very differently. Every word has got its own meaning. You may say happiness, you may say contentedness, you may say bliss. If you go check in the what do you say, um, your dictionary, all three means somewhat happiness. But when I am using happiness, it's simpler. I am saying it is happiness for in general. Contentness is something satisfaction which I am trying to intend here. Bliss is perfect happiness. When you are spiritually happy, you may say it is bliss. Are you trying understanding what am I trying to give example? I just gave example of happiness.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Bliss, right.
Yes, ma'am.
Check.
Yes.
Yeah. So check the words which means what. Try to use those only which you are intending. Okay. Simply there are synonymous. So you are putting them. Don't do that. Try to use those figures, facts which are up to the mark. Maintain acceptable writing mechanics in terms of question mark, punctuation, exclamation. So try to be very, very correct. Even nowadays, for that matter, correctness of emojis. Most of the time people use emojis without understanding. I request you to go through emojis and their descriptions which are available on the internet. So there is a red heart also, blue heart also, purple heart also. What exactly is meant by purple heart? What is meant by blue heart? What is meant by red heart? They really differ. I mean correctly, if you are trying to use those things, the person will also try to understand it the way you are intending. I hope you are clear. Even while using the emojis, you can do it. Use the right level of language, maybe formal, informal, substandard, etc. When you are in the friends, no, not necessarily. You may use slang also. So, but when you are in formal situation, when you are in business situation, try to be respectfully using the language. That language is known as formal language. Otherwise, saying hey guys, hey girls, etc. can be informal, but which is not acceptable in the business scenario. Okay, substandard language, which is slang one, very very informal, can be said as substandard. Take the quick guess what kind of writing is associated with each level. Try to use that. Look at the formal and informal ways. Formal is often associated with scholarly writing, doctoral dissertations, scholarly legal documents, top level government agreements, material where the formality is demanded. And informal, more simple, and the people who you are known with, or conversational kind of a language is informal. Look at the more formal sentences and less formal sentences. You may use participate instead of join. Endeavor is try. Ascertain is to find out. Utilize for usage or use. Interrogate for question. Right? Look at the substandard language is like faulty pronunciation. It doesn't give you good impression if you are using this kind of things. And this is substandard. Can't, hardly, aim to, proving, desirous, stole. They all are wrong words. There is no word called aren't. There isn't or aren't. Hmm? Can't, hardly cannot be a word or cannot be a sentence. It can hardly be so. Like aim to prove, aim to proving, wrong English, wrong statement. Desirous of, spelling is wrong here. So look at the spelling. Sorry, desirous to instead of to, it has to be desirous of doing something. There is no word called stole. The past tense of steal is stole, and past participle is stolen. So you have to be very cautious when you are using past participle of the words. Then facts and figures should be very very clearly. Try to check the facts, check the verify the statistical data, read, double check it. Okay, whenever there is some kind of figures you are using, try to use the calculator, double check it. Don't simply guess what the law is all about. Try to be very specific whenever it is a legal ground, etc. reread the thing, re-edit the information. It is always okay to reread and recheck and edit before sending any of the information. Okay, that is called as proofreading. For that matter, we are doing the facts and figures accurately. No, whenever we are using the words language, try to be very cautiously using such words which make certain differences. So look at the examples which I have given. Sometimes we use an when we are using the vowel. Before the vowel we can use the an. Whenever there is a simple or to anything, you may word start with a. And then accept and accept. They both are maybe homonyms, similar pronunciation, but the meaning is totally different. Accept is the verb which is to receive. Expect, accept is a verb actually leaving the things. It is totally opposite of each other, but maybe whenever we are pronouncing, they both are similar in nature pronounced. Anxious and eager. Anxiousness is implying worriness and eagerness is desirable, which you are eager to do something, that means you are happily able to see do it, right? Anxiousness, you feel worry about what is going to happen in future. So such with the usage of language, you would be able to give the correctness of the meaning to your message. With this, we end up the 7 C's of the uh, our communication for effective communication. Let me show you one small video and then we would end up. Give me a moment. Are you happy with the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the beginning we made mistake, right? Which was a kind of we started learning organizational behavior, which is for the third semester. है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
But that was written, so I did it. But later that mistake was understood, and we could solve it.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah. Okay.
That for and emails that get the job done, you need to think about more than just grammar and spelling.
Visible and audible.
Ma'am.
Hey guys, I'm
Yes,
Surbhi
ma'am.
and welcome to my channel Preferences.
Okay.
In this video lecture, we will discuss what is communication, its process, types, and the 7 C's of communication. So friends, let's move on to our video. Communication. Communication is a common phenomenon. As we all are social animals, we cannot live without communicating. Indeed, the very attempt not to communicate communicates something. Communication implies a two-way process of transferring information, ideas, feelings, or opinions through a channel between two or more persons, either verbally, that is through speech or writing, or non-verbally, by way of signals, behavior, gesture, posture, etc. The process of communication starts with the communicator or sender who has something to communicate with others, which can be an idea, information, fact, or anything else. Thereafter, the sender encodes the message by selecting the language in which the receiver can correctly understand The medium of expression can be speaking, writing, eye contact, facial expression, gesture, posture, etc. Thereafter, the message is developed by the communicator using the right set of words and language. The message is the main element of the entire communication process. The channel implies the carrier of the message, which can be face-to-face communication, telephonic conversation, video calling, letter, email, SMS, facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, etc. Receiver is the person to whom the message is directed. That is, to whom the communicator or sender wants to communicate. It is very important for the sender to understand the receiver's decoding abilities, interpretation capacity for an effective communication. The next step is decoding, which involves interpretation of the message by the receiver. After decoding the message, the receiver will revert back to the sender in the form of feedback. It is very essential part of the entire communication process as it indicates that there is no distortion of the message. For this purpose, the receiver looks for the channel in the same way as sender communicated to the receiver. The communication can be regarded as effective when the message received and interpreted in the same sense that the sender intended to convey. An effective communication is always receiver oriented rather than message oriented. The communicator should make sure that the receiver interprets the message accurately and properly. Types of communication. Communication can be classified on the basis of channels and on the basis of purpose. Based on channels, there are three types of communication: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and visual communication. Verbal communication involves the use of words and language in conveying the information. It can be oral communication and written communication. Oral communication can be in the form of face-to-face communication, voice chat, video conferencing, telephonic conversation, etc. Whereas written communication can be in the form of letters, SMS, emails, reports, etc. Non-verbal communication is the communication without the use of words. That is, communication through body language, eye contact, facial expressions, hand movement, appearance, tone of voice, etc. Visual communication. Visual communication is the one that takes place through visual aids, that is, signs, typography, drawings, graphics, colors, etc. Based on purpose, the communication can be classified as formal communication and informal communication. Formal communication is the one that follows a predefined flow in communicating the message. It can be vertical communication, horizontal communication, or diagonal communication. Lastly, informal communication. Informal communication is the casual communication which does not follow predefined flow in conveying the message. Next, we will discuss the 7 C's of communication. Clarity. Clarity of message is the first and foremost requirement of the effective communication. Hence, the language used must be simple and straightforward. Correctness. The message must be correct in the sense that the message must be free from all grammatical and spelling errors. Further, the message should be exact and well timed. Completeness. The message must be complete in the sense that the message should contain all the facts and information required by the recipient. Concreteness. This means that the content of your communication must be tangible. That is, there must be sufficient evidence to support your argument. Conciseness. A short and precise message is always preferred. So, to make the message well understood, avoid the use of irrelevant words and details. Coherence. There must be a coherence in writing and speech. That is, there must be a logical relationship between the words, sentences, and paragraphs. So, the points should be sequential, well organized, and interconnected. Courtesy. Courtesy is the essence of communication, which implies that the sender must be polite, respectful, open, and honest with the receiver. So, guys, this brings me to the end of this lecture. If you find this lesson helpful, please like this video, share it with your friends, and put in your
Okay, that was the end.